Hi, I'm Elizabeth Smart, and I'm so excited to be speaking for a minute on Child Rescue Coalition. They are one of the most incredible organizations in the world. They have created software that they give for free to law enforcement to help rescue children. Child pornography, online child pornography, is one of the fastest growing crimes worldwide, and they are combating it. And not only are they combating it, but they're succeeding. They give this software to law enforcement worldwide for free so that they can use to go out and rescue these children who are continually being abused night and day. If you don't know about them today, you need to change that. You need to learn them. You need to join me and support them. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you to Elizabeth for that wonderful message. And welcome to From Whispers to Roar. We're so happy that you're here with us for this very special event. My name is Alex Ortiz, and I have the pleasure to be the Director of Advancement and Sustainability at Child Rescue Coalition. We want to thank the Moan family for sponsoring this event and to all of you for being here. This afternoon, I'm here with CRC founder and CEO Carly Yost and COO Glenn Pounder. 2020 was a challenging year for all of us, and we wouldn't be here if it weren't for your dedication and support for the CRC mission and the protection of children. We're here to show you what you've helped us achieve this past year, what's to come in 2021, and how you can get further involved. We'll also be ending this event with a Join the Fight for short film with John Walsh. We'd like to now share a short video introducing who Child Rescue Coalition is.
Hi, I'm Carly Yost, founder and CEO of Child Rescue Coalition. Child Rescue Coalition is a nonprofit organization that rescues children from sexual abuse by developing technology for law enforcement, free of charge to track, arrest, and prosecute child predators. Relying on survivors to put predators behind bars is a broken system. Victims don't always come forward, especially when they're very young, and oftentimes they're not believed. We have to be proactive to find these pedophiles that are trading child sexual abuse material and abusing helpless children. CRC's technology is indexing 30 to 50 million reports of online users trading child sexual abuse material every single day. We've trained officers in all 50 states and 96 countries, and our technology has led to the arrest of over 12,000 child predators and the rescue of 3,000 children. But there's still so much to be done, and we need your help. For more information on how you can protect the innocent or to donate, please visit childrescuecoalition.org. And thank you for joining the fight.
Hi guys, and thank you, Alex, for the introduction, and thank you guys for all being here. I'm Carly Yost, the CEO and founder of Child Rescue Coalition, and I just want to say a big thank you for all of our supporters for really sticking with us. 2020 was a difficult year for so many, and we've really done amazing work throughout the year. So big thank you to all of our supporters, the Moan family for being able to do this for us, and also our law enforcement partners that are out there doing incredible work protecting children. So as you saw in the video, child sexual abuse and exploitation is a global problem. It's happening all around the world. And actually, when you see this picture here, this slide, this is actually our tool tracking predators around the globe on a daily basis. And it's definitely a worldwide problem that we've tracked over 71 million IP addresses in possession of child sexual abuse material across the globe. So each one of those dots actually represents a felony, someone who's committing a felony act by being in possession of one of these files. And why it's so important for us to be tracking the trade of child sexual abuse material is actually 85% of these abusers who are in possession have already been hands-on abusers of a child. So it's not just a problem of someone who's looking at images, which is really a horrific crime in itself, that these victims get traded over and over again and re-victimized. But it's also a huge indicator that they're likely to be abusing children that they have access to. So by proactively allowing officers to use our tool, they're able to identify predators and put a stop to their behavior. And people are always surprised, even myself, shocked to hear the statistic that one predator goes on to abuse 50 to 150 children through the course of their lifetime. And that's predators that, if they're never detected and they continue to have access to children, that is the typical amount of child victims that exist. And so that's the number we really want to put a stop to. By stopping a predator in their tracks, putting a stop to their predator behavior, hopefully by the amount of predators that we've been able to lead to the identification of and the arrest of, we really believe that we've prevented hundreds of thousands of children from being abused. And that's really what it's all about. We want to work on the statistics that 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 20 boys will be victimized before the age of 18. We need to get these numbers much better than that and make sure that people aren't going through this horrific crime. And another thing to point out that's interesting is a lot of people talk about knowing about this, who's a registered sex offender in their neighborhood, or that they've already looked it up and they know who that predator is in their neighborhood. Most of all of the predators that we identify, the IP addresses in our system, have little to no prior criminal history. So these are people walking around, they have professions like teachers and coaches. They're walking around in our society really unknown. So it really is getting this tool into the hands of officers that is so critical. So I know that Glenn in a moment is going to talk to you guys about some of the exciting work that we've been doing this year, but I wanted to highlight a couple of the issues and some of the things we've been working on. Since COVID, we've been working virtually, but we're still able to provide our tool to law enforcement all over the world. We've been working remotely and it's been going really well, but this problem is not going away. If anything, we see it even getting bigger. So we're working ever so hard to continue to fight towards this. But one thing, a new area that we started working in was legislation. So a shocking thing that a lot of our supporters really got behind us on was knowing that child sex dolls are being legally sold in every state in the United States except for 3. There's only 3 states that ban the sale of child sex dolls. And so we actually worked with some politicians as well as creating a change.org petition. And we got over 180,000 signatures on that petition. And we really hope to look towards 2021 as the year where we actually see those laws being changed. So really a big thank you to Elizabeth Smart, who also helped us with that. She was amazing, and really spreading the word about how really there's no purpose for predators to be purchasing child sex dolls that look like very young children. Another thing that we shared with our supporters and our newsletter followers is some of the documents, which one is called a grooming manual that we are tracking. So it's not just child sexual abuse material that we're tracking. We also track things that are what we call grooming manuals. So predators use these manuals and almost instructions to find children, how to gain access to them, to when to start abusing and how to avoid detection. So we were really kind of opening people's awareness that there's documents out there like that exist like this. And we really want to point them out to our investigators that show that that offender is much more likely to be hands-on abuser of a child. And so with that, again, just a big thank you. You guys have been incredible how much you believe in taking this issue of child sexual abuse and really elevating it where people are ready to start talking about this. They're ready to see changes. And thank you for believing in the work that we're doing at Child Rescue Coalition and supporting us along the way. We really couldn't do it without you. With that, I want to hand it over to Glenn Pounder, who is our COO. He's also has worked in law enforcement for many, many years, a true hero in child exploitation. And he's now our COO and wants to tell you about some of the new projects and what we've made possible.
Thank you, Carly, and thank you everyone who's joined us today. It's a real pleasure to be here. It's really great to be talking directly to our supporters this afternoon. You can see numbers on the screen here, guys, but I wanted to dig into a little bit more of what we do and how your support to Child Rescue Coalition makes a real difference each and every day. In my role as Chief Operating Officer, a lot of my time involves direct liaison with officers who are combating this horrific crime. I'm going to talk about a couple of actual cases resulting from the use of our technology, but I wanted to expand a little on this figure of 34,000 that we say we've helped prevent. It may seem high to some people. You heard Carly mention it already. Academic studies show that child abusers sometimes commit offences up to 150 children. The 34,000 we mentioned here is based on an average of 50 offences per offender, based on our arrests this year. So the real number of preventions using our technology could easily be nearer 100,000 and perhaps more. This is the difference that you help make by supporting Child Rescue Coalition. Importantly, once these offenders are identified by law enforcement, they can generally no longer get jobs where they work with children. As we'll see, all too many offenders have jobs in positions of trust. Guys, even during the COVID pandemic, your support has allowed socially distanced training for law enforcement to continue. This is just one example of a socially distanced training course which took place recently in California. The officers can be seen here with their certificates of completion. It may be interesting for you to know that even during the course, the officers begin investigating actual cases and start the process of identifying suspects. Ultimately, this is what leads to children actually being rescued in real cases. 2020 has been a challenging year for all of us. Despite the additional challenges of the virus, law enforcement in numerous countries have continued to take the fight to child predators. Child abuse hasn't stopped, and so these brave officers have also put themselves, and by extension their families, at risk in order to carry out proactive investigations to stop children being abused. Guys, some of these victims are so young that they can't voice the abuse that's happening to them, and they rely on law enforcement carrying out proactive investigations in order to rescue children. You can see the figures here, almost 700 arrests. That's around 2 child predators every single day of the year. But what kind of cases? I wanted to tell you about some real operations which you make possible. This first example is from just a few weeks ago. French officers used CRC technology to identify and arrest over 60 child abuse suspects in a nationwide operation in a single day. Amongst the children rescued that day was a child who'd been abused over several years. Tonight, she can sleep safely because of your support to Child Rescue Coalition. Our colleagues in Ukraine have conducted several coordinated operations, again during this year, using CRC technology. They are making a real impact in their country. They're sending a message to child abusers that their days are now numbered. I also wanted to talk about the unbelievable work that colleagues in Brazil. This recent operation is the latest in an amazing series of raids carried out in multiple cities across Brazil, but also in multiple countries around the world, where the coordination is being led by Brazilian colleagues. As one example of the Brazilian cases, they led to the identification and arrest of a German national. He relocated there thinking that there was no way he was going to be identified. Well, he was wrong, because CRC technology helped the Brazilian law enforcement find him, identify him, and it turned out that he was recruiting and abusing kids in local villages and then producing new child sexual abuse movies and videos and pictures. His days of abusing children are now at an end. Some cases from here in the United States also confirm that all too regularly, and again, as you heard Carly mention, a lot of these crimes involve suspects who are in respected positions of trust and highly respected members of our community. I think one thing you need to remember is that all too often, when somebody's arrested, it's always the reaction of, I can't believe he was a child abuser. Well, that's often the case because these child abusers are smart, and sometimes they're actually grooming adults before they're accessing kids. I also wanted to briefly mention the potential for businesses and others to help protect their platforms and children. Law enforcement do everything they can, and they're using our system, obviously, but we only know part of the picture. Our partnership with Western Union that meant that this company could utilize Child Rescue Coalition data to identify suspects who possess child sexual abuse material and are also sending money, more than likely to pay for the live streaming rape and abuse of children, sometimes from thousands of miles away. Our sincere hope is that other companies in the financial and technology sectors will join us in this fight to protect children. Finally, guys, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to announce our Investigator of the Year, Nick Fowler. I've known Nick as a colleague and now as a friend for over 6 years. I can tell you from hundreds of cases that Nick is very bad news for bad guys. He's worked with Child Rescue Coalition for a number of years now to ensure that multiple new countries have been added to our worldwide coalition. If it wasn't for the coronavirus, I'm pretty sure we'd be at 100 countries. We're at 96, as you guys may well know, and I'm sure by next year we'll be at 100. It's no exaggeration to say that literally hundreds and maybe even thousands of children are safer tonight directly because of Nick's work. Nick's leadership and all-round determination to protect children everywhere is a credit to him and to his agency, the UK Border Force. Of course, at some future date, we'd love to see Nick presented with his award in person at one of our galas. Until that is possible, we're reliant on the magic of Zoom to make this happen. Nick, so many congratulations to you, and so much appreciation for joining us at what is well after 9 o'clock in the evening in the UK. Over to you, Nick. Thank you.
As if through the magic of the internet, Glenn, thank you very much for some really humbling and incredibly kind words. I mean, this is a real honour for me, particularly because I'm fortunate to know personally previous recipients of this award who I just hold in such significant high esteem. I also feel that in so many ways this is the wrong way round. Carly, Bill, Glenn, your technology has enabled us to pursue bad guys and protect children all over the world. So I feel like I should be paying homage to you and to CRC and to everyone who has helped to get this tech to where it is today. I am so incredibly proud to associate myself and Border Force with the Child Rescue Coalition. We've done some incredible work together, and I will never forget my first case with CPS, which was shortly after we introduced it into the Dominican Republic. A warrant was executed at an address in a very rural part of the country. And when we went through the door, we discovered that the occupier was holding a Haitian adult female in captivity and raping her 7-year-old daughter every single night. That was then followed almost immediately by another case, which led us to the door of a woman who, through the evidence we found on site, had been sexually abusing her 6-month-old daughter and live streaming that abuse to an individual in New York. These individuals are in prison alongside over 100 others arrested by the Dominican authorities who have used the child protection system as their starting point. And the children that they were abusing and would have gone on to abuse are protected from harm as a result. So the past, what we've already achieved, it fills me with enormous pride, but that pride really pales in comparison relative to what we have planned over the coming months. The creation of a cadre of CPS instructors in the Dominican Republic, Colombia, Ecuador, Panama, Paraguay, Brazil, and Costa Rica, the introduction of CPS in Morocco and in Vietnam, the development of a strategic communications campaign to highlight the dangers of online grooming all around the world, but most importantly, the development of a new algorithm within CPS to create alerts regarding travelling offenders, thereby enabling risk-based prioritization and interventions against potential travelling child sex offenders across the globe before they can travel and commit that offence. I am truly honoured to be part of this fight alongside you all. I will treasure this award forever, and I will continue to find new ways to bring CRC technology into new areas of UK law enforcement like Border Force and introduce it to those who most need it all over the world. So thank you again so much, not just for this, but for everything that you do every day to protect children and protect innocents everywhere. Thank you again.
And Nick, again, thank you so much. Thank you for staying up so late. It's much appreciated. You've done some amazing work, and it's great for our supporters to hear in real terms from real cases what a difference their support makes to us. So thanks again. Alex, I'd like to hand back to you, and I look forward to speaking to you guys again towards the end. I see there's already some good questions coming in, so I look forward to that. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Glenn, and thank you, Carly. It's an absolute pleasure to be here once again to talk to you. And obviously, we're talking about technology. We're talking about this powerful technology that, with your support every single day, is out there making this kind of difference with law enforcement. But we also have to talk about education and the educational resources that are being made available to all of our supporters to help families and communities, really help them stay one step ahead, armed with really good information. And so, as many of you know that have been following us and supporting us, different things that we're doing throughout the year, different campaigns that help support that. One of those is the Predator Attracting Hashtags campaign, which was a campaign that was started with law enforcement and social media to help come up with the 100 most predator attracting hashtags. As many of you know, spending time online, posting on social media, we use hashtags every single day. And many times we don't realize that the privacy settings on those platforms might be putting our children at risk when we are posting those things without the knowledge that those images are making their way to those predators that have access to that. So those are things that we're trying to assure that our community really understands what they need to do to help prevent this. Another thing that we started in 2020, a way to start conversations with your children, is a series of coloring book pages that help to facilitate those conversations with your children about boundaries. And this is really fantastic because it allows you and your children to download these pages, these coloring pages, and have those conversations. And you'll recognize that we have included different characters. If you see here behind me, we have one of the characters that is in the those pages. We also have this character who is Bobby Bunny. So it helps to create this connection between law enforcement and the child. So hopefully making that interesting to create those connections with children. And then obviously online and personal safety tips. So helping to teach parents how to keep your children safer online, and truly empowering kids to be smarter and how to protect themselves, especially now that children are spending much more time online because of the pandemic, because of the restrictions and social distancing. All those things are contributing to the percentage of time and how much more effort we as parents really have to make to assure that our children have the tools that they need and the information that they need to protect themselves. Now I'd like to talk about you. And we've been really trying to focus this conversation on how important it has been throughout the year for you, our supporters, to be there for us. And with your support, we've had tremendous, tremendous success in different things that we've been doing. And especially this year with the pandemic and having to search for different ways that we can fundraise and get the support that we need to continue this fight against this growing threat. One of those things that we did through this year that was a new effort was the Join the Fight for Kids virtual race. And as many of you know, this virtual race allowed people from all over the world to participate in this race by reaching out to their family and friends on social media and letting them know that they're participating to support Child Rescue Coalition and getting those family members to pledge their support back to them. And through over 7,000 backers of this campaign and over 175,000 miles that were covered, which really equates to about 7 times around the world, with your incredible support, we were able to bring together over $280,000 to protect over 11,000 children around the world. So we're so very thankful to you for having this kind of impact. Another thing that we have done for many years, and this year has been an excellent show of your support, is through GoFundMe and our Giving Tuesday campaigns. So this year alone, we had 55 new fundraisers that generated more than $31,000 of support, which averaged $575 for each fundraiser. And as you saw this week, was Giving Tuesday, was absolutely our most successful Giving Tuesday that we've had thus far. And through generous matches by our donors, you helped us to raise almost $73,000. It was absolutely amazing. We are so very thankful for that. And this will help us to continue to protect children for many, many years to come. So thank you so much for that. Also, I wanted to talk to you about some business opportunities that have come this year and things that have led to additional support. And one of those ways is through our small business partnership. So if you go to our website and you go to our partners area, you see a list of those partners that we currently have. Well, this year alone, through the awareness campaigns that we've had, we have been able to bring in 10 new small business partners that have added to this program, and which helps us to establish and maintain that ongoing monetary awareness and promotional support to help provide support to this mission through incredible benefits. And so I'll talk to you a little bit more about our social media explosion in terms of your support and the audience. But through that increase of that audience, we're able to provide our small business partners with incredible benefits of exposure and promotion as they are spotlighting their support to Child Rescue Coalition and their contributions to this mission. One such partner that you might know through different postings that we've done this year is Bark. So Bark, as many of you know, is a technology company like ourselves that provides a monitoring tool for parents that helps to monitor social media activity by their children and help to notify parents before it becomes a problem. And so with this partnership that we established with BARC, it provides CRC supporters with a discount to their subscription to their tool, as well as a portion of that contribution for that subscription goes right back to Child Rescue Coalition as a donation back to support the mission. So we definitely encourage more support through supporting our partner in BARC. I'd also like to talk about this growth. So again, we have so many different countries that have been represented on the law enforcement side in terms of 96 countries represented. But this year was a stellar year in terms of growing, in terms of you, the supporters out there in all places around the world that are probably connected to this presentation today through Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and our mailing list. We started out this year with about 65,000 subscribers and followers. And through this year and through your support, we've had over 250,000 subscribers and followers, which that translates to about 4 times as many as we had at the beginning of this year. And I can't underscore enough the fact that, especially with our young supporters out there that have this ability to navigate the social media universe, using your voice is an incredibly powerful way to generate awareness to this mission and getting more individual out in the world to help support this mission. And one of those programs, obviously, that you know is the Blankets and Bear Hugs program. So this year alone, even despite the pandemic and a lot of restrictions that have prevented the normal amount of activity and events that we have around the Blankets and Bear Hugs program, we still were able to get over 180 care packages distributed to children around the world. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about the program now that has been expanded to help carry out more care packages to children next year. So how can you support us? How can you help us? So many of you are aware of our Coalition Club. So our Coalition Club is a monthly giving donor society with just $25 a month can help protect another child. So this is an incredible way for you to show your support and spotlight how you want to be there for children around the world in protection. So we definitely encourage you to help us in that way. And then talking about this, the Blankets and Bear Hugs program, because of the fact that social distancing is something that we had to try to overcome this year, and still wanting to encourage our supporters to stay involved in this program, we launched about 6 weeks ago the Blankets and Bear Hugs at Home volunteer program. And so what this allows our supporters to do is to go to our website and order to have a box of that would look something like this, that you can see here. And in that box, you would have materials such as what you see here that would allow you to support the mission by safely creating these care packages in the safety of your home, and also help to encourage your local law enforcement to get trained on the use of Child Rescue Coalition CPS technology. So it has a tremendous benefit not only for your volunteering for this and getting these care packages in the hands of children, but also in encouraging those law enforcement officers that without their support and without that impact, it's just technology. We need their support in using this technology to make this kind of impact. And again, stay connected. Subscribe to our newsletter. Connect with us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. These are different ways that you can voice your support for this mission. So we encourage you to do that. And then lastly is obviously is education. Educate yourself. Go to our website, childrescuecoalition.org/education. You'll have all the tools that you need, all the information that you need to support your children and your community in protecting children. So now I'd like to hand it back to Glenn for the opportunity to answer your questions. Take it away, Glenn.
Thanks so much, Alex. Yeah, we've had some great questions. a couple of them are pretty natural for me to take, not least because of my work with law enforcement and specifically around the child sex doll issue. So the first question here was from Lacey, who asks, is Amazon really selling child sex dolls? I was too scared to Google it on there. First of all, I think I fully agree with Lacey. I think that's a strange search term to put in Google, so I appreciate the question. The reality is Amazon often acts as a platform for what they call third-party sellers. And the child sex doll case in particular that we know about from a mum who saw the child sex doll on there was a third-party seller using Amazon as a platform to sell. So in reality, it wasn't really Amazon making the sale, but of course, Amazon still make money from the sale of items on their platform. We know in that particular case that Amazon took down those particular dolls. And again, like you, Lacey, I haven't searched on Amazon to see if there's any others for sale on there. And certainly we hope that Amazon would take steps to make sure that these items wouldn't go on there in the first place. We have an anonymous question, but also Eric Shaw is asking which 3 states have made these child sex dolls illegal. They are Florida, Tennessee, and Kentucky. So those 3 states, in those 3 states, these child sex dolls are already illegal. Again, what we ask is that if you guys believe, like we do, that these child sex dolls should be illegal everywhere, then please head to our website and follow the links for the blog, learn a little bit more about it, and please sign the petition. Let's get it over 200,000. It's not something that we will let up on. I'm sure come January 2021, we'll be trying to push the new administration where we can and influence to try and make sure that these horrific dolls become illegal everywhere. I know from real cases that Child Rescue Coalition technology has been employed on in a number of countries, that kids are being raped and the same perpetrator of a child being raped has bought these child sex dolls. So please help us to make these horrific so-called dolls illegal, and let's stop them from being imported into the United States.
I just wanted to add too that about those 3 states, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida, really happy that they have proactive laws and doing this, but just couldn't agree more with what Glenn just said. We really need supporters to make this a nationwide mandate. And the one thing I wanted to mention was that there are other countries, so Canada and Australia and others, who are working or have already made legislation to make this illegal and ban the trade of it. So definitely don't want the United States falling behind, and really want to stay ahead in being able to identify who these predators are.
And not least because my friend Nick is still on the call, I want to make clear that anybody who imports this into the United Kingdom will still be arrested, but there's no specific legislation yet in the UK, but I'm sure it's coming quickly because the UK is a very aggressive jurisdiction in child protection terms. Guys, so there's a question here. I'm going to hand this one to you, Carly. The question is, would you say teaching children forms of self-defense could lower their likelihood of being exploited? I have my opinion, but I wanted to pass that one to you, Carly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd love to hear yours after mine, and can maybe open it up to Nick as well. But yes, we really try to teach parents all kinds of different tips. A lot of them are digital advice that we give as protecting children against offenders that could just be reaching them through these devices or games or their phones. So really trying to encourage parents to look to who they're talking to and make sure that they're not using devices in areas of the home where you don't have access to. So that's definitely the digital space, because the internet has opened up a world that allows predators into your home. But talking about safety in real life, so making sure that when a stranger couldn't just pick up your child from school, or making sure that you have safety tips where people can't gain access to your actual children. So teaching them not to be led away by promises of meeting their new dog, or tips that predators actually teach each other how to do. I definitely think learning how to say no, scream, and run away is important. And then certainly, I think self-defense and awareness for children and women and all adults is really helpful in the scenario of a kidnapping situation. But definitely would love to hear, Glenn, what you have to say, and maybe Nick as well.
Yeah, I really think self-defense, at least from a self-confidence point of view, can help children in this area. Give them the confidence to speak to a trusted adult, or even to a friend. Again, unfortunately, because some predators will seek jobs in areas where they can get access to children, the only kind of rider would be, what checks are carried out by that particular self-defense club with regards to their instructors. So obviously the last thing you really want to be doing is putting your child in harm's way when you're obviously trying to do the best thing for them. Nick, do you have any views on this?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. So I've sort of got a vested interest in this question because I've been practicing martial arts for over 30 years. So, self-defense certainly increased my confidence when I started doing it aged 11. But I think it's worth bearing in mind that a lot of the victims who we're talking about here are prepubescent, that they're under the age of 11, and the likelihood of them being able to overpower an adult is pretty slim. So I would just echo really the point that Carly made, which is that if we're looking to provide children with the ability to physically extract themselves from this situation, then they need to learn to run, to scream, to draw attention in the way they can. But fighting back physically against somebody who may easily overpower them could potentially cause a situation where the harm inflicted upon them is even greater as a result. So I think there's a balance there to be struck.
Yeah, it's a great point, Nick. And yeah, hopefully Carly Acton, that helps answer your question. For this or any others, guys, because we will try and get through all the questions. There's some great questions here. If we don't get to you, please email us at info@childrescuecoalition.org, and we'll certainly follow up with you via that medium. There's a question here from Eric Shaw. How can we volunteer in our local area to support this or a similar organization? Do you want to take that, Alex? I know you've touched on some of it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I touched on a little bit of that. One of the biggest ways, obviously, is with the Blankets and Bear Hugs program. That is the very easiest way, and there's ways for you to even fundraise to help support that, going to our GoFundMe page. But I will put in the chat box the information about getting involved to go to our website, and you'll find all the information about getting involved in the campus initiative, street teams, Blankets and Bear Hugs, Amazon Smile. If you're shopping during the season, you can choose Child Rescue Coalition as the organization that you'd like to give back to while you're shopping. You can go to our merchandise store to support us as well. But definitely look into the GoFundMe site, because it allows you to create your own fundraiser and use the Blankets and Bear Hugs program as a tremendously powerful way for you to get involved. So thank you very much for that question.
Thank you, Alex. There's a couple of questions about encouraging local police departments to get involved, implement the technology. Again, obviously, I don't know where the questions are coming from in terms of state or country. I will say this, you guys know that we're in 96 countries already. Please head to our website, like I said, and you will see information on there with regards to law enforcement. For the US, the good news is that every state in the US has what we call an ICAC, an Internet Crimes Against Children task force, every single state. So all states in the US have access to our technology, which is obviously great news. With regards to your particular law enforcement, your local agency, again, encourage them to come to our website and follow the links with regards to law enforcement. Marit Conboy is trying to ask a difficult question, but I don't mind difficult questions. He says, how would you handle when police officers are among the ones involved and they are being trained on this? Couldn't they misuse the information you give? It's a great question, Marit. The way the training works and the way the system works, we are not giving law enforcement any additional access to child abuse material than a bad guy would by heading to the dangerous networks that we monitor. So by giving access to law enforcement to locate these child sexual abusers, you know, obviously law enforcement officers are people, and you know, we recognize there is a danger of them also being child abusers. Not in my experience has that happened of 31 years in law enforcement, but the system we provide doesn't give any additional kind of access to child abuse material. Nellie Long asks, where do we go to purchase the kits that Alex talked about? Alex?
I can actually.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually no, if you wanted to go, Carly, I actually just put the link in the chat box.
Oh, great. Yeah. So follow Alex's link, but also feel free, as we mentioned, go to our website, childrescuecoalition.org. Right on the upper right-hand corner is the donate button. Also, you can buy a t-shirt up there, but there's one of the volunteer kit buttons that's right in the upper right-hand corner. And you can purchase the kits anywhere around the United States and get them sent right to your home.
Okay, I'm going to answer a couple of quick questions here, and then I'm going to hand one to Carly with regards to the signs to look for with our kids, but I'll come back to that one in a moment. So Eric Shaw asks, who can create harsher sentencing laws in the US for these crimes? Eric, again, it's a great question. The sentencing guidelines in the US really do vary a lot by state. So it depends which state you're in. And if you feel it's not harsh enough in your particular state, then I would encourage you to write to your congressman. Certainly if you're in Florida, then the sentences are quite high in Florida, quite high in Arizona. Again, it really depends which state you're in. Anonymous asks about 85% of CSAM offenders are hands-on victims. That is indeed from the Butner study. And often we'll refer to other studies as well, and we'll say between 55 and 85% of CSAM offenders are shown to be hands-on victims. So it is very difficult. There are different academic studies. What we can say is there is definitely a correlation between people who possess child sexual abuse material and it fuels their desire to rape children. So that's what we can definitely say. The percentage, I agree with you, Anonymous, that you know we can discuss what that real percentage is, but we know there is a correlation, is what I'd say. And Carly touched on it earlier. I think that the reoffending is also horrific for these victims. So even if the person is only, and I use that term lightly, the only watching the rape of children, well, those children are real children, and they're being re-victimized by these bad guys on a daily basis. So hopefully, Anonymous, that answers your question. So Carly, Amanda Hertzberg asks, I understand most instances of abuse are done by someone the child knows. What are the signs to look for, and what can we discuss with our kids to prevent this? If you don't mind taking that one, Carly.
Yeah, sure. So great question. And that's absolutely correct. It's actually 90% of the time, the family and the child knows the predator that's victimizing that child. So it is like Glenn mentioned, it's someone who is grooming not only that child, but even the family members. So someone who's looking to spend a lot of time with that child, or even alone time and private time with your child. So that's definitely something to look out for. Some signs that we say too, this could be people they're meeting on the internet, is who are their friends? Are these people that they know in person, or is it someone they've met through a gaming device and they feel like they've developed a friendship. We want to really teach kids the difference between real friends versus virtual people that could be out there. And even the idea, starting from very young, talk about tricky people on the internet. So people who really do try to trick you or pose you or try to develop a false relationship. But are you seeing long distance phone numbers on calling your child that you don't know? Are you seeing gifts arrive in the mail, or even pornography, I mean, adult pornography being shared with your child? So that's often can be a way that predators are trying to groom children and groom them for something that's a lot more dangerous. Another big sign too is just withdrawing. So a child that there's a huge change in behavior from an emotional standpoint. And really, we're just trying to encourage parents having that open communication. I think if you're the parent and you're giving them the internet and access to it and a device, you really have the ability to follow up and ask the questions and know who they're talking to and make sure that you're creating a safe space for them to be protected.
Great, thanks, Carly. I think just time for one more, guys. Georgina Payne asks, and I'm going to pass this one to you, Alex. What involvement do you have with schools to educate them and then the kids stroke parents? Because I know you were trying for a number of months along those lines.
Yes, that's a very, very good question. Especially, now that we are experiencing this pandemic and children are spending more time, not only recreationally spending more time on the internet, but now virtual learning and distance learning, making that even much more prevalent. This is the kind of thing that looking at the technology has that capability to extend out to provide support to schools and educate them on the dangers of this in terms of the technology that we provide that could provide districts and school systems a way that they can be a support for allowing law enforcement to have even more eyes out there. So, if you think about teachers and parents and students and administrators all using educational technology tools, how, that kind of information and that data could be used to be able to detect where you might have individuals that are engaged in this activity. But also, the information that is on our website, all the educational resources are things that can get into the school systems and that can be disseminated at different age levels and the different grades to provide that support. So definitely encourage you, our supporters, to encourage your district leaders to use this information as ways of disseminating that information. So thank you very much for that question.
Great. All right. Thanks so much, Alex. And guys, I wanted to thank you again so much for the questions. It's made us perhaps run a little bit over time, but they were so good, the questions, that I think it was worthwhile trying to get through as many as we could. Alex, I think back to you with regards to the moment of excitement.
Yes, thank you, Glenn. So now is the time for the raffle that we've all been waiting for. So for everyone that was very generous and donated over $25 during our Giving Tuesday campaign, they were automatically entered into this raffle. And thanks to all of your donations and these very generous donations that we received as matches from our partners at TransUnion, the Gold Family, Curtis Miller, again, as I had mentioned before, we raised over $73,000 or almost $73,000. So right now, one lucky winner when we spin this wheel will be the recipient of 3 great prizes. One is a year-long subscription to the Bark tool, which is valued at $99. Also, we'll receive a pair of Bluetooth earbuds valued about $100. And then lastly, as I showed you before, that box. So we will have one of our winner that will be the recipient of a CRC influencer box that will receive items from Child Rescue Coalition. So those free things will be sent out to our winner. And just to keep in mind, you'll see that there's numbers on this the spinning wheel. The reason is for that is because we have people joining us from all over the world, and we want to keep people's privacy at paramount. So we'll spin that dial. We have the names on a list, and we do have some donors that did give to us anonymously. So if it isn't anonymous, we will contact that person. But if they did give to us and gave $25 or more, we will announce that winner. So without further ado, let's spin that wheel. So our winner actually is anonymous. So we will reach out to that anonymous donor. Very thankfully, gave us that donation during the Giving Tuesday event. So thank you so much for that. We will reach out to you. Thank you all for joining us and attending this event, and to our generous sponsor, once again, the Moan family. And we hope that all of you that joined us today for this first ever Whispers to Roars event enjoyed this, was very informative. And we'll hope that you'll stay right now to watch this short film, Join the Fight with John Walsh. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for your support, and thank you for helping to protect children.
Child sexual abuse. We all know it's going on. You might have even heard me personally talk about it all these years on TV. It's horrifying and incomprehensible, and often we feel helpless, fearing there's nothing we can personally do to help law enforcement bring these criminals to justice. Possessing one single image of child sexual abuse material is a felony. What if law enforcement had a map of computers in your area that were in possession of these files depicting children being sexually abused? What if there was a software designed for law enforcement that helped make arrests to pull child predators off the streets? Well, I've been fighting the bad guys for almost 40 years, and I know what does and doesn't make a difference. And I'm here to tell you about something you can do to support an innovative nonprofit, the Child Rescue Coalition. They help law enforcement take down the bad guys and keep our kids safe. The internet gives child predators virtually unlimited access to child sexual abuse material, and the vast majority of viewers are or become hands-on abusers. And anyone who's in possession of this material has a staggering 85% chance of committing hands-on abuse.
Since the development of their CPS technology, Child Rescue Coalition, CRC, has identified 71 million unique IP addresses worldwide sharing and downloading sexually explicit images and videos of children. CRC collects and indexes 30 to 50 million reports of online users trading child sexual abuse material every day. It's important because technology has changed the way predators can find and share this material. It gives them access to our children and to content that could lead to sexual abuse. For every predator Child Rescue Coalition helps law enforcement apprehend, they prevent between 50 and 150 children from being sexually abused. Since 2013, their tools have aided in the arrest of 12,000 dangerous predators, the rescue of over 2,500 individual children, and prevented the sexual abuse of more than 600,000 children worldwide.
We must protect the innocent from exploitation and preventing sexual abuse by providing its leading-edge technology to law enforcement free of charge, so they can protect children by tracking, arresting, and prosecuting child predators worldwide. Child Rescue Coalition was the vision of a very close friend of mine, a great guy, Hank Asher. The nonprofit is now run by his beautiful daughter, Carly, with a tight team of passionate professionals. It's an organization that's leveraging big data to systematically change our approach to preventing child abuse. When law enforcement is trained to use this platform, They suddenly have access to data that helps them identify and track who's sharing child sexual abuse material. This is data the police have never had access to before. It's a real breakthrough technology, one that provides a solution we only recently realized. But here's the deal, we can't do it alone. If you believe in the right of a child to be safe from abuse, if you love children, if you're empathetic and know something must be done, then supporting the Child Rescue Coalition puts the power of this technology into the hands of thousands of law enforcement that don't yet know it exists, protecting young children across the globe. With a donation as small as $25, you can rescue a child from sexual exploitation and prevent abuse.
Visit Child Rescue Coalition's website to learn how we protect children from predators and find out how you can make an impact. Join us in spreading the word of this nonprofit nationwide, and in doing so, join the fight to protect our children from predators.
The power to make a difference is in your hands. Thank you and God bless.